Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Couple things before we get going today, and we're definitely gonna get going, trust me. I just gotta say thanks to our friends at Liqui Moly, who's become family to us. They've been a sponsor of our channel for 3 years now. Love working with them. They're a wonderful company, and I highly recommend checking out their products because as far as I've found, best oil and additives in the market. Final one, yeah, I'm not wearing our stuff, but we do have merch, and a lot of people say, how come it's sold out? Because we don't order a ton of stuff. So if you see something on the store that you like that fits your size, atlamerch.com, buy it or it might be gone. With all of that said, I got contacted a while back with a vehicle that makes no sense whatsoever to our channel. It is not a resto mod, it's not a pro touring car, it's not a modern anything sports car. It's a freak of nature, obviously heavily influenced by the aviation of World War II times. So what I'm gonna do is bring in the builder, the owner of this vehicle, who just trailered all the way down from Oregon, just so we could have the opportunity of shooting this. So I'd like to introduce you to my friend Cameron. Number one, dude, thank you for coming all the way down. I know it's a trek for you guys. Prior to jumping into this, and I think you guys will appreciate this, any of you that struggle with maybe a difficulty in your life, which we all do from time to time, right? Let's touch briefly on what ultimately led to the creation of this was the last 10-year period of your life where you dealt with some pretty nasty physical challenges, including death staring you in the face.
Yeah, so when I was 25, I actually had type 1 diabetes, and it did a lot of damage because we had a genetic disorder in my family that's usually subtle, but the two tied together ended up putting me in a chair for a while. I was in a chair for 2 years. You know, couldn't really walk, and then I spent about 2 years recovering, but the whole time I was in the chair, I was watching YouTube videos and TV shows all about hot rods, car building. Number one of my biggest drives was I wanted to build cars again. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. As I was getting better, you know, financially I had to recover from being in a chair for 2 years and everything, right? Finally stumbled into a job working in World War II aviation, restoration on like World War II era aircraft.
Radical.
Yeah. It all of a sudden clicked one day like a light bulb. I love World War II stuff, love hot rods, right? Love building. Realized I could blend all of my passions, right? World War II military vehicles, World War II aviation, and hot rods. So this is just a blend of everything. I call it my tribute to World War II.
What's the engine in this?
So the engine is just a mild build Chevy 350. Figured with this car being all aluminum, I didn't need much power. So 350, mild build.
Weigh much. What does this thing weigh?
I would guess somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 sitting in it. It's all aluminum except for the frame.
Very cool.
Behind it is a turbo 350, you know, easy automatic, bread and butter. The rear end is a 12 bolt. It's got 373 gears for the bigger tires back there.
Yeah.
Those would be World War II command car tires back there. And then you've got the World War II Jeep tires up front with a 1970 F100 axle that I've converted to go on radius bars here. I wanted something a little bit stouter to run the Jeep tires.
I'm curious, like with stuff like even your, I don't know if you can technically call it an exhaust, but your piping, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Is that you? Did you build that yourself?
No,
you have someone do
I
that?
sourced that. It actually does have some mufflers, if you want to call them that, some inserts, right? Bought about
it sounds like it when you started. It's really obvious that it's heavily muffled, you know?
Heavily, yes.
Yeah,
I bought 4 or 5 different mufflers. I wanted something that sounded like a WARBIRD, so I tried a few different inserts. And then one of my buddies that I work with rolled over as I was trying this set, and he got out and he said, that sounds like a WARBIRD. And I was like, boom, there it is.
Badass. This is a freak of nature, this car.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know that.
100%.
So touch on all the other elements.
Brakes, it's just a standard master cylinder and booster. I think I got off of Summit, just kind of a hot rod universal setup.
Yeah.
I'm still running the factory drum brakes up front and the factory drums in the rear. Everything's just been rebuilt and completely gone through, right? Figured with this extremely light car that you're not really doing 100 miles an hour in. Factory is fine, and it does fine. These military tires are not designed to go 100 miles an hour, right?
No way.
Your factory military Jeep
Put
get
along
about
at 20 miles.
miles an hour. Yeah.
I assume all the frame, motor mounts, that's all you custom making it?
I built the frame, all the components. The entire body is a complete scratch build. Everything was bought at the yard, flat stock. Seats, steering yokes, the bombs in the back, the guns. The only thing, all my buddies were like, you gotta put something original on there, right? You're building the Jeep. So what's more iconic than the Jeep grill? I got a new old stock Jeep grill and just had that powder coat chrome matched to the polished aluminum because we had to have something. Everything was all literally handmade. What I actually did was bought a World War II Jeep tub. I threw it on a rotisserie and then just stole all the dimensions. I measured everything, got the angles, everything, set it to the side and started building this on the rotisserie, literally from flat pieces of material. So there is no original body here. There's no original frame. This is literally just a scratch build car.
This is a full handmade car
100%.
other than the handful of mechanical components.
And the grill. Every rivet I either hand squeezed or hand shot. There's over 4,500 rivets in them. And these are actually aviation grade rivets. These aren't the soft rivets that you usually get in cars.
You're able to source a lot of stuff through your job, obviously.
No, and I literally built this just like you would an aircraft. This is a hollow shell. These are just 40,000 skin with a structural stringer on each rivet line. So there's no faux rivet lines here. These are all structure. So it's just a hollow body, which is why it's so light. Because this is what I do.
Are you guys tracking why we're shooting this today now? You know, I mean, it's so... Dude, I didn't know about the physical limitations that you'd faced over the last number of years.
Yeah.
So when you add that component in, that you had physical challenges you had to overcome, like with a great builder, I would be blown away. A great builder that's had challenges, what I'm saying, you know? It's so amazing, dude.
Thank you.
It's so... Just so you know, last night I did have to pull it out.
Yeah.
The second I sat down in here, which I figured out, by the way, I think how to get in here. Still not sexy, but
yeah.
You're actually in a pretty damn comfortable driving
It's not
position.
bad. It's not bad. So
I mean, I ain't going to San Diego in this thing, but you know,
if you park this next to a World War II Jeep, dimensionally, the tub, the hood, everything, which was tricky to get the 350 in there, but dimensionally, this checks out. The only thing I did is I lengthened the seating area by 2 inches. So I cheated a little bit there, right? And I'm pretty sure the factory ones didn't have a bomb bay, but you know what I mean.
You really replicated the cockpit of a...
Yeah,
I mean, including like, you guys see this?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
those are tied together.
So if I'm over here riding with you today and I don't like the line you're taking, I can adjust?
You probably could. It's not as tight steering over there. It was mostly for effect. I wanted the passenger to feel like they were also the co-pilot, right? The automotive gauges are mirrored on both sides, right? And then the yoke, just like in a bomber, you have 2 pilots. So it's not as tight over there. It's cable and turnbuckle behind the dash, just like an aircraft.
Explain that, I'm sorry, cable and turnbuckle.
Cable and turnbuckle and pulleys. So like in most World War II aircraft, there's little pulleys and taut cable as you're running the controls in the cockpit. Those cables are running full length of the ship underneath the floor on pulleys and running up to, say, the rudder. And so as you're hitting the pedals, your rudder's going back and forth, all with the cable. Rather than
this
fly
is
by
set up
wire,
in that same way.
Yeah, rather than
steering
fly by wire.
or pedals as well.
Just the tying of the two. So this is actually tied directly to the steering box.
Yeah.
This one just mimics this one via cable, turnbuckle, and pulley.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
And I got to assume every switch is functional.
Every switch
You showed
is
me last
functional.
night start, which is it cool if I show the startup?
Yeah, go ahead.
You power it on, and you know it's powered on because it makes it very obvious. So long as this is down, right? Or
Yep, up. Yep.
Then that's sick, dude.
So that's actually a mag switch from.
Isn't that cool?
That's actually a mag switch from a World War II aircraft too. This
This
is a mag from a World War II aircraft. Yep. And all of these vintage gauges are vintage aviation out of bombers and fighters and all that. I sourced all those off eBay.
So it's all look. It's not.
Those are functional.
What are they doing though? Like we don't have to worry about an altimeter.
We don't need to, but we have the fun of it, right? Yeah.
So as you're going up like into the mountains, will it come up?
Yeah.
What? No shit.
This is all functional. What you're hearing back
You're a total
here,
freak, dude.
when you hit the mag switch, you're hearing a vacuum pump. These are all gyro driven. So there's a gyro spooling up in each one.
So legitimately, we climb a couple thousand feet
You'd
into
see
the
it.
mountains here.
Yeah, this compass is going to turn while we drive because the gyro is spooled up by this vacuum pump back here. The only gauge here that does not function is PDI, because that's how you knew you were on your bombing course. And I couldn't figure out how to fit a bombardier up here too to tell you if you're on your bombing course. So you're just always on your bombing course.
Dude, this is so wild. I just noticed you even worked in mirrors so you can legitimately see what's up around you.
Even the airspeed, that's the cover hanging on there. That's a pitot tube. Pull the cover off. The air going into the pitot tube feeds that so you can see your speed. But you've also got your speedometer, your tachometer.
I noticed all that.
Yeah.
They fit so well. Nothing looks out of place from like these gauges don't look like they don't belong next to all these other ones, you know? Okay, couple of other things here. We're not blowing shit up, but are these functional of anything? Are they fuel tank? Are they
These
anything?
are fuel. So these are both fuel tanks. There's your sending units. These are handmade also, just like everything else.
You handmade these?
Yeah. So I was able to source the tanks, and then I just made the fins, the nose, all that, the sending units, everything. I just started with a cylinder.
I thought it was
tank.
a lot. I thought you actually made this, that you only made all the other
Yeah,
shit. Who cares?
just a few things.
No big deal.
Yeah,
I'll
biggie.
knock a couple out in the corner right now.
It's got a
for you.
header tank too, just like an aircraft. So instead of worrying about sloshing the tanks, there's a separate tank down here, just like a lot of the WARBIRDs had, so that if you went upside down, your fuel didn't cut out.
Because they look tiny, dude. How many gallons?
Yeah, there's
total?
not much, probably 8.
Total of 8 gallons.
Yeah.
350, couple hundred horsepower, couple thousand pounds. You can go for a minute, but you ain't.
Yeah.
You ain't going.
No, you're not going super far. And,
Yeah.
You know, to me, it was a piece of art. It's functional, yeah, but it's not going to be the most functional car. You're not taking it out every day to go to you know, Burgerville. It's, you know, I had to build something
Is that
functional.
a place up in Oregon? Burgerville?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the best. Love it. Yeah.
Come on, boys. What's the best burger?
Burger now.
Oh,
You're fired.
I can't come to California without having In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out. Do I like cheese? I actually grew up on a dairy farm. I love cheese. That was actually where I learned how to do all my hand fab stuff. I grew up on a dairy farm. There were tools everywhere. We had a welder. I actually had to teach myself how to weld. My dad took me to the welder and said, clamp that to the metal, turn those dials, make sure the gas is on where your hood. I learned very quickly, don't weld painted parts because you don't feel good afterwards. Everything was really self-taught.
Some people pay extra for that, just so you know.
Yeah, and I just had tools and scrap metal to my disposal. That's where I learned how to do
Figured it
everything.
out.
Yeah, I just figured it
Yeah.
out. Once I built my first hot rod, I actually built a car for my dad as a gift because he's just a super solid dude, and that was a scratch build too, and I just wanted to see if I could do it. And that's when I got bit with the hot rod bug.
Let's walk back up here if you don't mind. There's two things that stand out to me up here, and they both match quite well. Your turn signals.
Yeah, 50 cals.
These are 50 cal.
These,
Are they?
They're not real, they're handmade, just like everything else.
Did you hand make those?
Yeah.
But that's like the end of a 50 cal rifle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you would have seen protruding from a wing.
Here's the part I love so much about what you've done here, Cameron, and then you guys, we will go drive this thing. Not only the level of craft that you have, but the choices that you made. Because in my opinion, it's always the choices that can make or break a great custom vehicle. You know, you make a couple wrong choices, okay, you start making some stuff where there's no flow to it, you know? Everything flows to this. This is something you could easily miss because you catch the lights and you go, oh, turn signals, and you start to walk and you go, wait, that's the end of a gun right there, man. I marvel at what you've created, dude. And like, even when I look, which we didn't touch on, and I think it'd be cool to touch on it over here, when I look at all of your wiring,
Yeah, so that's just
all of
like
your
an
plumbing,
aircraft.
but I can tell because I'm so used to looking at automotive stuff. I would imagine in the world of aircraft, the redundancy towards safety's got to be dramatically higher than that of automotive because obviously much higher risk.
Absolutely.
So when I look at like how you're wired, how you're plumbed, it looks like something that was meant to fly, not just drive down the road and hope you get from point A to point B. You know?
Yeah, there's honestly a lot of aviation details, even hidden little Easter eggs all over the car that I intentionally did. I wanted to build a car you had to walk around 7 times to see everything. Like even these are an aviation detail. These just quick turn, and you can disconnect your wiring, your plumbing, and pull your engine, right? And that's what you would see on all the firewalls of the radial engines. You just disconnect your electrical, it comes off with the cannon plug, pull it out, you swap it out.
So that's legit old school aircraft stuff.
Yeah, all the AN fittings and stainless lines, you see that in cars nowadays, but that started out as aviation, right?
Really?
And it's such an easy thing to disconnect and plumb, and it works really great. So it just eventually became the thing they used in race cars.
Sure.
And right? All the paint is specific to something too. Like the green that you see in the cockpit, that's the same green that you would see in the cockpits of most of these warbirds, right? The yellow in the bomb bay, I wanted to blend some of that in. That's actually another aircraft manufacturer ran that. North American was running that on a lot of their stuff. I've had a few people say, why don't you throw some green on the wheels? The gray that you see on all of the frame and the wheels is actually the same as all the landing gear colors on a lot of the birds, right? The wheels and the landing gear would have all been painted that color.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted the linkage and the wheels to be that color. There is a breaker panel instead of a fuse panel. If you pop your head up in there, you'll see breakers, aviation breakers instead of fuses. Instead of pulling a fuse, that just pops out like in an airplane, you push it back in.
So the whole car's run on breakers, not fuses?
Yep, no fuses. If you want to turn the vacuum pump off because you're just tinkering with some stuff, you just pull the breaker.
I mean, I even noticed like your steering wheel is all safety wired.
Yep.
That's what it would be on aircraft.
Yeah, and that's done correctly. Like if an actual aviation mechanic saw that, he'd say, yep, good to go.
Because I love the redundancy towards safety all over this vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell it's very safe until you actually plan to drive it. But I
No
like
seat
that,
belts,
God forbid. So, no, but the cool thing is, if I get thrown out of the vehicle today and if there's some water close by, I will have a flotation device.
You'll have a parachute.
Oh, that's a parachute.
That's a parachute. Yeah, so the reason why most of the bomber seats that you see were a dish is because you were sitting on your parachute. So you didn't have a cushion in your seat. You'd climb into an empty seat. That's why all the bomber seats had a dish. So what I did, I wanted something to look like the pilots got out and they left their parachute in the seat. So these are even correct part numbers for parachute. This is a quality control stamp. That's what they did during the war. That's replicated to make it look like it's been quality certified. This has been packed correctly. There's a lot of little details like that.
You're such a geek, dude. I love it.
A little bit of a geek, yeah. A little bit of a geek.
I noticed also coming onto this side because I saw the different color for
navigation lights.
Yeah.
That way you can tell if an aircraft's coming or going. If green is on the right side and red's on the left, it's going away. Right, and those work, those are fully functional.
Of course.
The other thing is this is a friend and foe lighting panel right there, that's fully functional. And there is lights on the bottom of the car that light up for that. So
really?
You would use that lighting system to tell if it was a friendly coming in. You'd use radio signals and lighting signals to be able to flash red, amber, or green. And you were supposed to know what color it was that night from my understanding. Totally functional too. There's red, amber, green underneath the car.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we do this, dude? I don't want to put any of you guys to sleep. There's just so much to show on this vehicle, but let's go drive.
Yeah.
We can yell at each other as I have questions because we will most definitely be yelling at each other. We're going to drive this chill. We're not going ballistic in this thing. We're on public roads. It's loud as all hell.
Yeah.
And those parachutes ain't going to help either one of us.
They're really not. No, they're really not.
Well, let's go drive it, man. So you've heard us talk about it. We're really excited about launching our new podcast, and it's live now on the Autotopia LA podcast channel. We've had some great guests already. Looking forward to talking to so many of our friends because, we're pretty plugged in with some amazing folks in the automotive space. So check out Autotopia LA podcast channel, hit the subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when we go live, but it's going to be every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you love what we're doing, and thanks for checking it out. Now let's go for a drive. Not a quiet one, is she?
Not a quiet one.
I think you're smart. That 373 gearing, it's not unruly.
Yeah.
Man, if you were up in the fours, you'd have something pretty violent to deal with.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so crazy fun, bro. It really feels like what it is. It drives like an old hot rod.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as raw as it gets, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. There's really not any bumps here.
No, that's pretty decent.
The experience sitting in here is, you're literally in a vintage aircraft.
Yeah. It's as close to flying without being limited to the sky. You know, you can actually, same experience as a WARBIRD, just on the road.
Thank you for letting me drive this, man.
Oh, thank you, man. This is a blast. I'm having fun.
This is one of the most unique driving experiences ever. Oh my God, I'm just geeking out. This is so fun.
That was 55.
Feel that? Yeah, right. I thought it would be much more unruly to drive, honestly.
It's not the most practical thing, but I wanted it to be fully functional.
Totally drivable. I don't feel, I mean, sure, we're very exposed to all the elements we talked about.
Yeah.
But as far as the drivability of it,
Honestly,
when I just blipped it, I felt it squat. You feel the front lift a little.
Yep.
Like, that's fun, dude. That's just fun.
Yeah, and a lot of it is tires. If you had different tires, it would be better.
Totally. Look at me over here. I'm like laughing at myself. You guys got to understand, the fun of just cruising this is wild to me.
I've never driven it this much in California heat. Apparently I need to bump some stuff up.
All right, so here we are on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
How many miles are on this at this point?
Probably 100.
Probably 100. So we just did close to 10% of what you have on the car already.
Yeah.
So it's very, very fresh, right?
Very fresh.
Let's explain and then we'll show you guys what happened that makes us stop driving right now.
So what happened is the rubber that slips over the lower radiator and the lower radiator hose cracked, brand new, but nature of the beast. That's
So
why
now
we do
we
break-ins.
have radiator flowing, but not where we want it. It's flowing onto the ground.
Yep, exactly.
You saw me, I couldn't stop smiling. Definitely one of the most unique driving experiences ever, even up to only 55 miles per hour. Who cares about going fast? This wasn't built to go fast. This was built to give you what you gave me. The experience of being in a vintage aircraft while driving down the road. Dude, all I can say is thank you so much for coming down and doing this with us today.
Thank you, man.
It's a
I
long
really
trip
appreciate it.
and it's a good one for us. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, especially keeping it real that sometimes fresh builds, they have issues and you fix them.
Yep.
So anyways, thanks for hanging and watching, you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Later.